Everybody, today I'm going to talk about the various forms of stock certificates. Now, who might be interested in this? Well, first of all, people who collect old and antique stock certificates, collectors of scripophily, that type of thing. Who else might be interested? Those who have inherited stock certificates and aren't sure if they are in the form where they can be transferred to their name and so forth, and anyone else who may be interested in. What I'm going to do is show you first what an unissued certificate looks like, and I've got an example right here. You'll notice that nothing is filled out. The name here in the center, and in this particular case, this is what's referred to as an unissued certificate. I'm going to show you a certificate that has been issued in just a second. This particular unissued certificate has actually been canceled. I don't know if you can see it, but there are actually holes in the certificate, and it's very lightly canceled with the word cancel on here and on here. So this is an unissued certificate. Now, there's also something called a specimen certificate. And what a specimen certificate is, it's a genuine stock certificate. It's printed by the banknote company, and it's basically used for the corporation that has these certificates printed up. One copy goes into the corporate files, one copy gets sent to the Securities and Exchange Commission, and then a few extras are printed up for the banknote salespeople to show as examples of what they can do and what they can show as part of their various types of certificates. And you can see here we have a certificate that has the word specimen actually printed onto the certificate in red ink. In addition, it has the word specimen stamped on there. Now, sometimes you may see a certificate that's just stamped with specimen, or it may have the word printed on there. It could even be printed right in the center, specimen. Most of the time, there will be nothing entered where it shows the certificate number, or it may show all zeros. Occasionally, you'll see specimens where they are numbered on very rare occasions. So this is a specimen certificate. They are very rare compared to the issued certificates of companies because usually so few are printed up. Okay, now let me show you what an issued certificate looks like. Now this certificate here, it's actually issued to me, and you can tell it's issued because it has my name here and it has the date down at the bottom and so forth. So this is what an issued certificate looks like. The back, just so that you know, has something that's called a stock power on the back. And in the old days when certificates were used, paper certificates, when you wanted to sell a stock, you'd have to sign the back. The signature would have to be guaranteed, which is different from being notarized. It's something completely different. It can only be done by a bank or a brokerage firm, and then it'd be submitted to the brokerage firm. The brokerage firm would send it off to the transfer agent, and then this would be canceled, and then a new certificate would be issued in its place. So this is an example of an issued certificate. Now I'm going to show you an example of a specimen certificate of the same company. And I don't know if you can see the dots real clearly. These are little tiny holes that were punched into the certificate, and you can see the word specimen there. I'm going to hold my hand up so it's a little bit behind it so it's a little bit easier to see. This is what's referred to as a specimen certificate, and in this case the word specimen, instead of being stamped on there or printed on there, is actually hole punched on there. You can see there's no name issued there. In terms of the certificate number, there's no number issued there. It does have the stock power on the back. Now I'm going to show you a third form of the stock certificate. And this particular type is what's called a proof. And these are probably the rarest type of all. And what a proof is an example of what the certificate is going to look like. It's generally, one of these is usually printed off, maybe two, maybe three at the most. uh, basically given to the company to show how the certificate is going to look once the banknote company goes ahead and prints these up. Now, I don't know if you remember, but if you compare this one to the specimen, there's one major difference. Do you see the printed signatures at the bottom? Those aren't real signatures. Those are printed by machine. Sometimes they're called facsimile signatures. Those are not on here. So that's one example of a difference between the proof certificate, which is extremely rare compared to the relatively rare specimen. The other thing that I can show you is on the back there's no stock power because there's really no reason to print it. Basically all the banknote company is doing is printing off one or two of these to send off to usually the CEO of the company, get his or her approval. If they need to make any changes, they scribble on here saying, make the name or font a little bit different, and then they would print out another proof, send it back for final send off. So those are some of the examples of the various forms of stock certificates that you may come across. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. If you liked it, click the thumbs up button below and continue to follow. I'm going to be covering a lot more about the stock market and bonds and a few other types of investments.